Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining in the video. Just wait for a few minutes and then we'll start. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. And I know this is a long time I didn't record any video, but now I get some time, so I'm creating this video for you to make you understand about the new coming attacks and what is going in cybersecurity. And if you will have any other further questions, I will be happy to answer on that as well. And today's topic we have selected is for the password spray attack, as you can see on the video. And I hope you will learn this video something new and will definitely help you to if you're preparing for any SOC analyst or security analyst interview. If you have any interest in cybersecurity, I will recommend you to watch out this video. This video will definitely help you to understand the attack technique and how we can protect and prevent such kind of similar attacks in the SOC of your company, or generally you can also understand about that attack pattern and can also do some kind of the monitoring for your machine as well. All right, and we will wait for a few more minutes and then we will start our video. Thank you. So in the meantime, we will start the video or the topic. I would request you, if you have any other questions in your minds, please feel free to notify me by a message or by the comment. I would check on those comments and will give you the proper response with my time, and I hope you will definitely it will and overcome your problem as well. So and now I'm starting the video. All right, so let's get started. All right, so let's begin the video. So hunt the hackers, we have kept the name as our proper name is also the Hunt the Hackers SOC Analyst version 2.0. My name is Vikram Saini. I'm a cybersecurity expert working in cybersecurity from a long time, and now I'm presenting this video on the password spray attack. I'm also an author of a video course on the Udemy and other known reputed platforms like InfoSec 4TC and Ethical Hackers Academy. The last year I wrote my book on the SOC analyst job responsibility, and which we have discussed different domains and why you should buy this book. That will understand you how SOC analysts are monitoring the different cybersecurity attacks for a company. And this video is specifically focused on the password spray attack. This is similarly kind of the brute force attack, but not like that same. I will discuss about it more in the next few slides. All right, so thank you for again joining in this video. Let's begin the first slide. So what is password spray attack and why you should know about this attack? Especially because generally in cybersecurity companies, when companies have a requirement to monitor the different cybersecurity attacks, or they want to look out the attacker activities in their network infrastructures, they specifically create different kind of the rules, whether a SIEM tool, which is helping the SOC analyst team for monitoring the cybersecurity attacks from different level. And password spray attack is a kind of attack in which attackers target the user's accounts and compromise those accounts to perform further activity. But why you should know about this? So let's discuss about some other features about the techniques attackers used to target a machine when they want to compromise a machine or a server or a laptop or any machine endpoint. So what they do exactly, what is the mentality of an attacker? So the attacker first choice is always about like RCE code, like remote code executions, where they can target a specific vulnerability to exploit it and to deliver the payload, which can help attacker to compromise the machine and can get the shell from the machine and can control over the machine uh, with a limited shell or with a full privileged shell, depend upon the shell on the account which is running in that particular machine. Because generally a machine, when it runs with a specific account privileges, and attackers have the understanding that if anything running in the machine, so if they get access to the machine, they will get access to the same kind of the privileges which helping the machine to running the particular program. So why I should know about the password spread attack? So attacker does attacker target any specific payload? No. Does attacker target a specific vulnerability? You can say no, specifically not vulnerability. This is not an exploit. But does attacker target any specific vulnerability? No, this is not a vulnerability. Password spread attack is not a vulnerability. Password spread attack is not used to deliver any payload as well. And attacker also does not select any specific payload or exploit or any vulnerability target. And this is threat. Yes, this is a threat. So now we talk about if this is a weakness of a machine or a server or the kind of misconfiguration. So we can say yes, it's a weakness. It's a weakness in the configurations what we have set for the machine. For example, now every machine in a network running specific applications or running any particular process requires some privileges, and that kind of process will have to run through a particular username. So anything running in your machine will be definitely associated with the user account, privileges, and the permissions that user accounts have to run a specific other programs. So if we talk about a password spread attack, so attacker knows that there is an account in your machines, and then if your machine is fully patched, there is no vulnerability. Attacker cannot exploit any vulnerability in the machine. Attacker failed to deliver the payload. So what could be the threat for your machine? Threat would be a weak password, a misconfiguration. So if we say weak password or misconfiguration is a different terms, you cannot be give a same reason. Misconfiguration could be, for example, I'm giving a scenario where we have installed a specific default application, and a default application coming with a default account or services. So for example, generally the default passwords for default accounts could be like admin, username is admin, and password is also admin. The user's account is root, and password account is also root or admin or something. The weak passwords, which is by default in some kind of the applications like FTP, SQL, in some scenarios, even attacker don't need to give any passwords, or and admins don't need to specify any password, because you can log in anonymously into the particular applications, because that default configuration is not set to any password. Yes, so you can now understand the risk if you're having any default applications or default service you installed. Then might be that application could associate with this default account, and that is not either linked with any password, or this password with a weak password. So now we can understand the impact. If your machine is running an application or a program with a weak password or no password, then attacker can easily target those kind of weakness in your machine to get control over that. And this is to monitor these scenarios. Companies create rules, kind of password spray attack, and that attack can be target multiple machines or multiple user accounts. But how this actually works, if we talk about the working of the password spray attack, so you know about the brute force failed login. We already recorded a video on the brute force failed login attempts, and detailed video is already in our channel. You can watch it out later. So password spray attack specifically target weak passwords for multiple accounts. For example, if you machine having 10 different accounts, generally email accounts. When the company provides email account to multiple employees, the user set a weak passwords, or VPN account. When they might set a weak password on that, or when they got AD, like Active Directory, having containing multiple accounts. So generally, when a machine, we talk about a machine is connected to the work group, that machine will have limited accounts. But when we talk about a centralized authentications or a monitoring platform, then we refer to the usually the email authentications, VPN authentications, application authentications, or domain authentications, where a same server holding different accounts, and those different accounts managed by different persons, so they could have a weak password in that. An attacker can target weak password in multiple accounts. So they can select a weak password, for example, a one password like a general admin or the password, or any welcome 123 something. So they can now brute force, they can try to attempt to log in into that multiple accounts with the same password. So attacker will set a single password, but that attempt will go to the multiple user accounts. So if 3 user accounts having the same password, that means attacker will get the access to those 3 accounts and can use those accounts to further stealing the informations, or can, if that account depend upon which target service it belongs to. If that account belongs to the email account, for example, attacker can get access to the email accounts. They can read out the other emails about the users, about financial details, any confidential informations. If any email received by the user is containing any other further credentials, then attacker can also store that and see that and again further use it. So this is very important, right? If your email account got compromised, your personal, your confidential information, or your emails containing the passwords could be leaked. So and if that account is a kind of like VPN account, then attacker will get access in your network with the private IP address. So VPN network is generally providing the access to the external users to have internal IP address. So if attacker will get access to the private internal IP address, attacker can further target other network devices in your same network. And in case if attacker got access to the domain account, that means attacker can now enumerate the other accounts in the same domain. Attacker can enumerate other privileges accounts, and attacker can further look for the shared resources in your network. So this is important to monitor the password spray attack in your company for those users who have kept the weak passwords. We'll talk about the remediations also. So let's move to the next slide. Okay. So this is very important. So we are moving to the next slide now. What hackers should know. So as an understanding of a hacker, right, what they should know about it. So when attacker generally target a password with weak passwords for multiple user accounts, they first to understand what is that they're targeting. They're targeting an email account, they're targeting a VPN account, they're targeting a domain account, they're targeting a local account, service account. What is type of the account they're targeting? And based on the collection of target, right, they can select target services also. So for example, now if we take example of target, now I want to target a user account, okay, because generally a machine have a different type of the account. So like a machine could have a service account, local normal account, local system account, domain admin account. There could be different targets for the attackers. What target services? Target services could be like VPN, like email, like domain account, like a local connected workstations, could be that. So once attacker decided the target, which account they want to target and which target services they want to perform this attack against that, they can select, they have to identify the port number also sometimes. So if this attacker selecting the HTTP kind of the weakness, for example, like web applications authentications, where the attacker have to target the specific port numbers also, they have to map with the port numbers. So if attackers targeting web application and their application is running on a randomized port, then they have to know about the port also. So before running attack against those specific service or target, attack user accounts, attacker have to mention about the port number as well. Like if it's a port 80443808188080 or something else, they have to mention that. If they're targeting a specific target services or another like secure shell, they have to keep the port number 22. If they're targeting RDP, they have to keep the port number 3389 in the attacking tools. They have to tell attacking tools or the script they want to use for the attacking that you should use or target the specific port number 3389 or 22 or something else. So what is the protocol number? So protocol is also important, like protocol, port and services. You should know the difference between these three. It's very important. So protocol helping the TCP/IP protocol suite to running specific services. Protocol could be RDP protocol, secure shell protocol, right? Services. So what protocol its team is using, or the company is using the protocol. So generally attacker target the HTTPS protocol or the services HTTP service. Okay. So if we talk about the protocols or the port, so support usually computer machine have 65,536 ports. Okay, and they have different protocol number also on the specific port. For example, TCP is a protocol, UDP is a protocol, right? And we talk about the protocol like SIEM is a protocol. If RDP is another protocol or services, we can say services which is running in your machine. Like for example, secure shell service, SQL service, HTTPS service, RDP is another service, and there also works on different protocols. Does it work on TCP protocol or UDP protocol, right? So you have to understand the actual threat which could target your machine. Okay, now the user, as I mentioned, if you're targeting user local user account, so you have to prepare user list for that also, like which user account you want to target, like admin, administrator, or SVC, or local system, local admin. You have to prepare a list of your target account and the password, which is the password which you want to use for targeting those accounts. Okay, so let's now moving to the next slide. So what SOC analyst should know. So in the previous slide, we have understood about like what attacker should know about before attacking any password spread attack, performing any password spread attack. So what SOC analyst should know about a password spread attack. So first of all, SOC analyst should know that this attack is not attempting to with different passwords. Attacker is targeting the weak passwords and can target multiple accounts, and based on the privileges it can get control. So password spray attack is very dangerous if the user having a weak password in the infrastructure. All right, so I would skip this slide for a few seconds, and I got one question from one of the watch subscribers. You're watching a name of Abhishek, and Abhishek asked a question about like how we can join SOC analyst job without experience. So Abhishek, the answer on your question, every company when have a requirement for a SOC analyst, the requirement is based on the experience and the requirement, right? For example, if a company is looking for the fresher, then you might not need experience. But again, if someone having an understanding about cybersecurity attacks and the person is already having an understanding about the SOC analyst also, they will prefer that person. They would never prefer to someone who don't have an understanding about the SOC analyst. So if you don't have the understanding, you don't have any experience, you don't know about anything SOC analyst, then it's very difficult for you. But if you have any experience in your profile, either it is an IT professional or any sales team, systems team, teaching experience, definitely it can help you. I'm not talking about the specific SOC analyst experience, but if you have any experience in any domain, then you can easily switch out your job to the SOC analyst. How we can switch out the job to the SOC from a different profile, I can guide you if you would like to discuss more on that, but that is not part of the discussion for this video. We can discuss on later, or if you want me to have one-to-one discussion, we can also have that. Please let me know if you want to have a discussion on that, so we can do it later. So now coming back to the slide. So what SOC analyst should know about this specific attack, right? So when a SOC analyst or a security analyst is monitoring a company infrastructure, right, the person could be working for a single dedicated client or could be working in a shared MSSP where a team monitoring a different infrastructure, right? Different infrastructures means different customers. So what is important for a SOC analyst is to understand the impact. Okay, so when a person is working in a SOC analyst and monitoring the alerts, so they are monitoring through SIEM tool. And if they're having a rule already configured with a password spray attack, then the first thought in the analyst mind is that attacker targeting the weak passwords and they're having the same password but for different user accounts. So now how we should approach the investigation, how a SOC analyst start the investigation. SOC analyst start collecting a few details about the attack, what he got in the alert. For example, what is source IP address, or if whether it's one IP address or multiple source IP address, or what is the destination server. Is it an email server, VPN server, application server, a local workstation, a domain controller? What is that? So once we identified, okay, for example, we identified a single source IP address targeting our email account server, email server, and so we got the name of the server and we got the target service also like email. Okay, after that, what is the workstation name? So workstation name is here about that source. So generally in Windows, if we talk about, if Windows sometimes Active Directory also logged the machine name of the source or the attacker or the intruder IP address, because they are also performing attack through a machine, right? And machine also has some specific name, right? So if you example you are using a Kali machine, Kali Linux, so you might have that name will be recorded by the Active Directory in the security logs. This workstation name can be helpful to further checks if there is any other attack performed with similar name of the machine with different IP address, right? Because the IP address could be different, but if the attacker keep changing the IP address and targeting different account and different time interval, you can look for the past 30 days, 7 days, 60 days to identify if attacker have targeted with different IP, different account and different time, because we have the workstation name of a attacker machine, right? So what are the user accounts attackers targeting? Attackers targeting a specific service account, a local admin account, a mixed accounts like a combination of the both accounts, admin account, root account. So you can know the risk, right? You can calculate the impact. If attacker successfully logged in with an admin account, then definitely there is a higher risk. If attacker got access to the normal account, then the risk is lower, but yes, there is a risk again. So if you are working a SOC analyst, right? If you are working a SOC analyst and you got some kind of alert password spray attack in your SIEM monitoring tool, you should collect all these details like source IP address, destination server name, target services, workstation name of the attacker, source IP address if we have captured in the security logs, what are the user accounts been targeted, and if there is any impact. We will know about how we can calculate the impact in the next slide. Okay, this is our next slide. If a SOC analyst start thinking about an attacker from an attacker perspective, and hackers start thinking from a perspective of a SOC analyst, what can be achieved, right? So SOC analyst from the attack perspective should look about like attack start time, when attack started actually. If you got any attack alert, you should look when this attack had started, when this attack got end or still continue on ongoing. If the attack is still ongoing, then you should start the remediation action immediately. You should not wait for anyone to justification or the validation. You can immediately take the necessary remediation action. So this will help all to calculate the attack duration. Like what is the attack duration? Generally, attacker kept its duration is short, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What is the attack pattern? So attacker might be running this target password spread attack within a 7 days of interval. Like for example, running in once in a week. You can look for the last 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days pattern. If the same IP address attacking to different accounts at different interval of time to keep persistence in the network, or to not to want to trigger an alert for the SOC team, right? SOC analyst should know target services and target impact. If there is an email account, attacker targeting email account, that means if an email account getting multiple hits, attacker can also cause account to be locked out. But in password spray attack, we would not see situation when account got locked, because account generally got locked when multiple hits coming to the same account with different passwords. And password spray attack target one password or multiple accounts. If a person receiving only one failure login, that will not cause an account to be locked. But if the attacker successfully logged in to an account, right, then it could be a further risk. So what attacker can do and what SOC analyst should look for further. So hacker, if get control or if successfully logged in for an account, attacker will first check the IP address of the machine. So attacker now logged into a machine, right? So maybe the local account, email account, right? For example, a local machine. If attacker successfully, for example, I'm giving a scenario also, attacker targeted 3389 port number for RDP, attacker brute force a specific account, attacker logged into a machine now with an account. Okay, now attacker will first check out the IP address of the machines. So might be a machine could have different IP addresses, different network interfaces. In some companies or some administrator have two different interfaces for same device because they want to communicate with different networks, right? Depends. So attacker will look out like if the same device having two different interfaces or multiple interfaces in that. So attacker can also look for the other devices connected in the same network. So once attacker got access to the machine, attacker will start looking for the other devices connected in the network. He will look for like other with the subnet mask. For example, if the two attacker identified two subnet masks in the network interface, one is with the 10 range and second is with 92.68 range, then attacker will start looking or performing a recon or scanning activity toward those network ranges to look what other machines are live in the network. Attacker will look what are the local accounts on that machine and what is the privilege attacker got from this account. Attacker will check further if there is any cache credentials or cache tokens, you can say. Generally when we log into a machine, right? So when a user account logged into a machine, so machine assigns some token which define the privileges for a user account, and then tokens sometimes cache in the machine for the user to make his job to movement easy, right? So every time user don't have to mention the password. Tokens will be used as an identity once a person proof is identity with the username and password. So that token can be stolen by the attacker further. Or if the tokens are in the memory and an attackers and multiple users, for example, on daily basis they logged into the same machine, attacker can also dump the passwords because the password in the hashes form. Because when you logged into a machine, there's a process called LSASS, right? LSASS, the process dump the hashes of your password in the memory for making it easy to reflect the other access by the same user. So generally you authenticate by this machine at least only once, right? Not every time, every 5 minutes. Yeah, at some times the password or the connection got time out, then you have to attempt to relog in. You have to revalidate your credentials. But once you get the token and your password hashes got dumped in the local memory, the process, attacker can install those tokens and those password hashes and can use to inject or can use to convert back to the passwords, or can use those tokens to authenticate in the network another device. Attacker can install backdoor also. Attacker can make some changes. But a privileges attacker can make some installation of other programs, other services. Attacker can steal the data from your machine to the outside. So if you are as a SOC analyst monitoring your network and you got some alert with the password spray attack and attacker got successful login for an account, then you should ensure to double check, not just like, okay, logged in, just not only recommending the password reset. Password reset is just preventing attacker to log in with the same account in a similar manner. But if attacker have already logged into the machine, attacker will try to install backdoor to keep persistence access in that machine, right? And you have to immediately look out for the current session on for the particular user accounts and to kill all the sessions, disable that account if possible, and then look for the other activities what attacker did. Did attacker perform any recon activity, scanning activity? Attacker tried to enumerate the privileges for the user accounts. If attacker tried to dump the account password hashes, if attacker have installed any other services in the network or tried to steal any other data. I hope you watch out this, you like this video, the content of this particular slides, and we briefly discuss about all these different attacks in my book, Hunt the Hackers, Complete SOC Analyst Guide. If you want to learn more about the SOC analyst profile, if you are looking for the opportunities in the SOC analyst domain, then this book definitely can help you. This will teach you all different domains and can definitely help you to move your domain to this cybersecurity. In the next upcoming videos,